So, hello everybody. Welcome to the YachtSys Academy Business and Marketing webinar series with the title Grow Your Nautical Business. So, this webinar series is dedicated to nautical companies that can be boat charter companies, charter brokers, boat sellers, or vendors of nautical products. But even if you're not from the nautical industry, I'm confident that these webinars will give you great insights on how to create your business strategy and how to avoid the biggest mistakes. On my virtual left side, I like to welcome Clarice Lin from BaselineLabs in London. Hello, Clarice.
Hi, Felix. Good morning, everyone.
So Clarice will present us her webinar title. It's how a digital marketing strategy will help to grow your business and get new bookings. But I forgot something, sorry. I want to announce a bit what Clarice is doing. And Clarice is a marketing strategist and growth consultant. She is working since a decade consulting big companies like Microsoft. And she's a specialist in data analysis and business intelligence. So I'm very happy that we can start right with the schedule. And I will give now the word over to Clarice and wish you to enjoy this webinar and stay tuned. I will go in the background and will switch in again when the webinar ends. And don't be shy to post your questions. I also will think about what I need to know from her. So just use the chat, and Clarice will very likely at the end of the webinar then answer these questions. And I will also have a final word and will tell you about how this webinar series will go on because we have another 10 webinars until Christmas this year. And yes, I would like your participation. So for the moment, I go out and Clarice, you can start.
All right, thank you, Felix, for the wonderful introduction. And I'm very pleased today to be here presenting you this webinar, how a digital marketing strategy will help your business get new bookings in 2020 and 2021. So before I go into this webinar, if you look to the right side of your screen, you would have seen that I've put up a poll for you that's asking this question: do you have a digital marketing budget for 2020? And I can see all of you have participated and put in your vote. So as you can see from the participants so far, we have about 24% of you have a marketing budget, 50%, more than 50% of you sort of not quite planning, and 24% of you haven't really thought about it yet. So this webinar will help you understand how having a budget is really important and how you can invest in a good marketing strategy to help you get new bookings. So let's start. So today's webinar is divided into 5 parts. So at the beginning, I will go into why you must invest in your digital marketing strategy and how it works for you to get short-term and long-term returns. And then number 2, we'll be talking about 10 critical components of a successful and cost-effective marketing strategy. So in this part, I'll go into the different elements of what you need to have, the different puzzle pieces that you need to put together for a successful strategy. And number 3 will be about the 3 top challenges that stand between you and a successful digital marketing strategy. So the thing is, even if you have a plan and you have the budget, it doesn't mean that it just goes into success, everything goes well. So there are some challenges that is a little out of your control, but I will be highlighting how you can get control as much as possible to get the best results. And part 4 will be, I'll be covering the 8 worst mistakes that you can make and how you can avoid them. And the last part I'm going to cover will be some steps that you can take after this webinar to start looking at what's happening in your company, what resources you have, and how you can get prepared for creating a marketing strategy that will work for you in 2020. Cool. So if you have any questions, you can put right in the Q&A at the corner, so I'll be able to see them and we could address them at the end of this webinar. Cool. So let's get going. Why invest in a digital marketing strategy? So many businesses make this assumption that they are spending money. They don't see it as an investment. So it's an investment that's going to get you results. Results as in seeing leads filling up your pipeline and converting those hot leads into customers. So how can you make sure that your digital marketing strategy is going to work? So when you invest in a digital marketing strategy, you need to understand where your audience are. You want to know exactly who they are, where they are hanging out, especially if you are looking at the new generation, like the millennials and the Generation Z, who are mostly online. So having a good digital marketing strategy will enable you to tap into those people, tap into those audiences and convince them, especially if they are people who are not involved in sailing, so into yachting. So this is something like a new sport for them. So many people are not really aware of that. So in this case, having a digital marketing strategy enable you to tap into new clusters of audiences. So previously, there is an assumption that yachting is meant for rich people. So people who are considering weekend getaway, this younger generation or people who are started work. So they are not really aware of that if they don't have friends who have already done this type of holidays. So you want to understand the millennials, especially, and the Generation Z. And statistics have shown that most people, they go online to search for inspiration for their next holiday. So if they see something interesting that could spike their interest, this will be something that they will be looking into. And when you make your presence felt online, this is where you're likely to attract new customers. And I go into the second part, which is 24/7. So when you have a digital marketing strategy, it means basically you are online 24 hours, 7 days a week. So you want to make this information available all the time, especially if you don't have resources or even like a call center or your team online all the time. But having your information there means, imagine this, if someone finds a picture of a beautiful yachting holiday and they're very interested in it. So they found your website, they click on it, and they start looking into it, researching into it, even before they send you an inquiry form or even request for a callback. So in this case, if this information is online, it allows them to quickly immerse and try to get as much information as possible because they are excited at that moment. So having those information available allows them to dive into it as much as they want, and they're really excited and they say, oh yes, I want to learn more about it from them, and then they might drop you an email or they will request for a callback. So in this case, letting your marketing information, the information on your website, the information in brochure which you have put online, you are letting all this information do the persuasion work for you. So persuasion is really critical and most people don't realize it. So when you have persuasion in progress, that means they have the customer or the prospect have sort of at least 30 to 40% maybe considering it themselves. So when you talk to them, by the time your sales team talk to them, they are perhaps nearly ready to be convinced to give you the money to pay for their holiday. So in this case, having this information, having the right information there for them to discover, for them to read and consume, helps you in closing that deal. And having a good digital marketing strategy also means it's cost effective. So in this case, you're having all this information online. Say, for example, if you have like a social media strategy, or you have like your blog posts. So it's there. So you have organic reach. When people search for it, the information you have put out comes up first on search. Or if they're looking for a particular hashtag, your information, the content that you're putting out comes up. So in this case, it helps you to do more work in terms of the persuasion and minimize your ad spend. So the thing about ad spend is, if you have a large budget for it, especially for Google and YouTube ads, which are slightly more expensive than social media ads, well, go for it. But you have to understand the conversion in terms of how it works. So let's say, for example, if you have like a Google ads, you can spend a lot of money, but they might not necessarily convert immediately, or they take a long time to convert. So this means you have to put in more money for that conversion to take place. So in this case, this would reduce your profit margin. However, if you already know who are these people, you can actually retarget those people and narrow down to a smaller group of people, target advertising campaigns that would work, and reduce the amount of budget you need for that advertising campaign. And also in this case, you are able to scale up, because the thing about the marketing strategy is different from a one-to-one conversation. When you have a salesperson talking to a single person, you can only have one conversation to go. So in this case, when you have marketing materials readily available for people when they need it, so it allows you to scale bigger, so you can actually reach a wider audience. In that wider audience, identify the leads, the warm leads, and you start talking to those people first who are more likely to convert into customers, rather than talking to those people who are still in their research journey. Maybe they are considering coming on that sailing holiday in 2 years' time, or next year. So in this case, you talking to them right now is not going to get you immediate bookings, but more of something that's like possibly like next year. So in this case, it might not help you in the short term, but being able to scale helps you to reach into a wider audience, so you can actually nurture different group of customers who are ready to become buyers and customers at the right time. And this digital marketing strategy is actually an integrated approach. You shouldn't think of as, okay, we have this digital marketing strategy and then we have this offline. No, having a digital marketing strategy is a overall arching strategy that actually covers the social media, the videos, the blog posts, what you put on the website. It should all interlink together. It's like bringing the customer on a journey with you, let them know about you, let them convince them why they should be booking a holiday with you, why you are providing the best service or products for them, get them excited such that after they come and have a booking with you, have a most exciting holiday, they'll say, oh yeah, this was the best holiday ever. It was exactly how I envisioned it. This is brilliant. I'm going to tell my friends all about it. I'm going to come again next year. And this is this integrated approach. So all of this needs different bits and pieces of information, I call it, to be put together in a well-planned, structured manner. And it usually takes time to see the results. Even the advertising campaign that you are running right now, you should never see it as standalone. It's something that you can convert it in the short term, but also long term as well. So this is why you need to look at it from the top view, so you can actually see how you can convert all the money that you're putting into the marketing and convert them into paying customers. And the next part that I'm going to cover is I'll be talking about this 10 critical components that's part of your strategy. So the first part, which is the foundation, is actually to know your audience. So knowing your audience doesn't mean just knowing who they are. You want to know what else are they most interested in. You want to know, Are they the decision maker of a particular trip? You want to know where do they search for before they decide to go on holiday. And you want to know, for example, what keywords do they look at if they go to Google and do some research. Now, what are the keywords they're looking for? You want to know their age as well, and you can know their gender. So in this case, you know exactly what they're most interested in and how do they talk like it. So knowing that enables you to create content that will speak to them. Speak to them as in you are answering their questions. So you are not talking or putting out content, a tone that doesn't seem to understand their question. So for example, if you have let's say your audience is very interested to have very local experience. So highlighting that in your content speaks to them. They say, oh yeah, I want to have this best holiday in Greece for island hopping. And by highlighting particular aspect of your holiday, speaks to them, get them excited. They're like, oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So in this case, it allows you to create the right materials, highlight the right information to get them really excited. And the second part of it goes into your brand message. So it's not just about knowing your audience. You want to get your audience familiar with you. You don't want to create this trust. You want to make them comfortable. You want to make them excited. So for example, if your customers are the younger generation who are out there for a good time, they want to have a stress-free holiday, and your brand message can be offering the best stress-free holiday. You'll feel much more refreshed after the holiday. So creating that kind of brand messaging speaks to them, and you'll be able to attract the right kind of audience with your right brand message. You want to let them think about you whenever they want to have a stress-free holiday. So that's what I mean by message. You come up at the top of their mind, and they associate you with something that really enjoy. And the third part of it is you have to align your marketing goals to your business. So when I say marketing goals to your business, it means, for example, if you want to get new customers for a certain product or services that you have, you need to align it to invest the right resources, creating the right content. So many people don't realize it. They might say, okay, we need to grow revenue for the business, but they are not investing in the right marketing activities. Like, for example, if you want more people to share your content on social media, so you want to start create the foundation such that your customers could be sharing those social media posts, or you have a dedicated person to help you to create those posts that will get people excited. So understanding what are your business goals and aligning those goals to your business is really important because it allows you to keep track and to measure success. So for example, how many hot leads do you need to have before you can actually convert them into paying customers? By having that in place, by setting way beforehand, you can actually monitor your progress, track to see whether your marketing campaigns are actually working. For example, if you want to plan for a Google Ads campaign in 3 months' time, how would you know if you have succeeded? How many callbacks would you like to have? So these are goals that you want to think and set beforehand so you know how much money you actually need to put into those campaigns that you have and how that's going to convert into profit at the end of the day. So this is something that you have to be really clear. Without a goal, you are basically heading nowhere. You have no clue how much money you continue putting in there. You have no idea if it's working or not. Sure, you might get revenue, but if you put in a huge amount of advertising costs inside, at the end of the day, your profit is going to go really low. So in this case, by doing your math beforehand and setting the right numbers, it allows you to see where you are going and to see if you are on track and how you can keep on track. And once we have that foundation in place, you want to think about your customer acquisition strategy. So most people, most small businesses will think about new customer acquisition, and they will not think so much about returning customers. But in fact, there are different strategy. So statistics have shown that returning customers are more willing to spend with you again and again. So when they have a happy experience, they have the right information, they want to come again, there's less work in between to convince them to buy from you, but rather what other things can you offer them to make them have even better experience so they will continue to come back year after year. And it's different from new customer acquisition, because new customer acquisition basically means they don't quite know you yet. There's less trust. So they could have other options, but you want to convince them they want to come here, want to approach you, they want to buy from you. So in this case, having like a different acquisition strategy helps you to customize the right message. In this case, for example, if returning customers are more familiar with certain account managers in your company, having them in place to have the same person for years, perhaps give them that comfort and rapport so they know what to expect when they are working with like a certain dedicated staff of your sales team. And that comes in the third part of customer acquisition, which is the capability to identify leads. Having a great marketing strategy means you have the ability to understand whether this customer or this prospect is going to convert within 2 calls, going to convert within 3 emails, or so and so forth. So by creating different types of content, you have to understand they are on a journey with you. So you want to think about how can you get them on board? Or let's say, for example, if they're looking at the pricing, so they're on perhaps the pricing comparison journey, or they want to look at a couple of testimonials. So you are quite sure that they are relatively interested to book a holiday with you. So it becomes like an easier, less convincing to be done in this case. So you want to know if someone is more than 50% ready to book. And how can you know if the prospect is only in the midst of their research? So for example, if someone calls you at winter time, maybe they are calling within this couple of months, maybe they're just researching on it, they're going to talk to their friends, they're going to get this information, they're going to talk to their family before coming back. So having this conversation allows you to know and expect whether this lead is going to turn into a customer. So in this case, you will be able to focus. Let's say, for example, you have 10 calls coming in, and from this conversation, you know that, okay, these people who are asking a certain set of questions because they have certain posts of yours, or they have downloaded certain brochures, you know that these people are more likely to turn into customers, and these other 5 people are perhaps researching for next year. So in this case, it allows you to plan ahead and say, yes, we need another 5 more leads to be able to meet our target for this year, because these 5 other people you have spoken to, they're not ready to go this year. Perhaps they don't have a budget, but they just want to find out more about it, have an option. So in this case, when you can identify those leads, it allows you to allocate the right resources in the right place at the right time. So the next part I want to highlight is we want to talk about different channels and platforms. So online, in digital world, there are many platforms. There is your website, there is social media platforms, there is Google and Google search engine, Bing, and so on and so forth. There are so many channels. So which one should you focus on, or which one should you be choosing so you can actually attract those people to come and know more about you? So choosing these right platforms is really important. You want to get those people to be really excited about you, putting the right information. So for example, if someone is on social media, the message would be more inspiring them. So statistics have shown that people who are on Instagram, they would typically use that as part of their research or inspire them for their next holiday. So putting those imagery of a beautiful holiday, a fantastic experience, is something that would get them excited perhaps to click on, know more about your business, then come to your website and check it out. So you want to help them to get excited about going on that holiday, having that best inspiration of their life. So using this right platform to resonate with them becomes really critical. So this is the beginning of the journey to look for this holiday. So they might not be ready to book now, but having that source of information there, it's the best place to start and attract a larger group, creating brand awareness for your brand, for your sailing business. And then comes to this second last one, which is the create right content. So many people don't quite know what does it mean by right content. So the right content would be a picture getting them excited about the being on the boat itself, exciting features on the boat, the life on the boat, or having great food on the boat, or perhaps having this sailing boat at one of the spots where they can actually alight and integrate with locals. So the right content depends on which audience. So if you're having this group of audience who are like a local experience, so that will be the right content, like having an imagery of talking to local people. So that would be something that speak to them. So in this case, you have to understand, go back into understanding and knowing your audience so you can actually create the right type of content. And the last part actually ties in with closing your sale. So marketing and sales are not standalone teams. They are teams that work together. So when I say work together, it means like having, I understand that quite a number of the bookings that you have usually requires a person like a salesperson to be able to close that deal. Not everyone will be booking a holiday straight away through the online system. So you need the salespeople to actually talk to them, give them more information or assurance, have more information exchange via email. So in this case, having those right marketing materials, the right channels, speaking to them, and they are almost ready to book. They just need maybe a couple more interactions before they decide, oh yes, I'm booking this for this holiday in summertime. So in this case, having this sales team step in, collaborating with them to say, okay, if someone download this particular brochure, we know that they have downloaded the brochure, they have actually looked at some social media posts and they came in through certain posts, you will know precisely what they are more interested in. So for example, if they came in through this Greek holiday, which they were really excited about, it seems like you'll be more interested in having Greek island holiday hopping. So in this case, when the sales team speaks to them, they know they came in through this particular content. You will be able to build a better idea on what type of holiday aspects should be introducing to them. What are the type of holiday they're looking for? Do they need like a skipper to navigate the boat, or do they want to drive it themselves? In this case, you can provide them with the right option to guide them to decide what would they need to customize that perfect holiday. So having that part to close the gap, to close that hot lead is very critical. So it's not just marketing, it's a marketing thing. Marketing works with sales team to create the best strategy. Without the sales team coming into play, the marketing team would just be creating the pipeline of leads, hot leads and warm leads. So together with the sales team, that's what makes a digital marketing strategy works. And even if we have talked about all these 10 critical components, even if you have got it all right, there are 3 different challenges that I'll have to highlight to you to let you understand. A digital marketing strategy could be easy, but there are still certain obstacles that are standing in your path, something that you can't really control. So the 3 top challenges is omnichannel, segmenting, and the right way. So I talk about omnichannel as what I was mentioning before. There are many platforms to speak to your audience. So they could be online, it could be offline, it could be a paid advertising campaign, or it could be the organic YouTube channel that you have started on. So being able to combine those resources and guiding those people to move from pieces of information to know more about you, know more about the holiday that you're providing, all this all comes together. So you need to know how these different channels work together. So it could be today, one of your prospective customers go on social media and see a post of yours, get really excited. Awesome. So they might click on it, go to your website and thought, oh, this looks interesting. And that's it, they might close the window. But in this case, because they have clicked already on your post before, so it allows you to perhaps run a Facebook campaign or an Instagram advertising campaign to get them to come back again. So having this omni-channel approach in this case could make your marketing campaigns even more effective than before if you know how to combine between organic and a paid campaign. Using this right set of campaigns to actually help you to get them to come back. For example, even if they come to your website, they might not be ready to buy anything or research anything, but they are interested to know what does a selling holiday look like. So in this case, what you can do is getting them to sign on to your email newsletter could be another approach of combining your entire marketing strategy to get all the pieces together. And the second challenge is how you can segment them. Segmenting works very well if you segment them in the right way. So for example, you want to look at what would inspire them to take action. What is their ideal holiday? Where do they want to go? They just want to relax, chill out and have nice food on a holiday, or do they want to immerse in the local culture and get to know more about a different city? Do they want to chill out with friends? So if you can segment this group of audiences that you have, it allows you to create the right holiday package or right product for them, so they'll get really excited about that. You have to know what are their priorities. What are the most important priority that help them to decide if they want to pay for this holiday? Or what are the deal breakers? So what is this one thing that if it's part of the holiday or part of that package that will change their mind? They will say, no, okay, I'm not going there. So you have to understand this. And if you can segment these different groups of people, it allows you to create those information for them that you can use across those different segmentations. And the right way. I believe by now you might have heard me mentioning right many times. So when I talk about the right way for one company might not be the right way for another, because your business models are different, the type of audiences you are targeting could be different, your brand is different. So there is no textbook for this perfect digital marketing formula. So even if someone comes up to you, if you're working a marketing consultant or an agency, they say, hey, I have this perfect marketing strategy formula for you. It's going to work. I'm afraid they are stretching the truth. So in my entire marketing career, I've never seen the exact same marketing formula work for another person or another company. So the thing about marketing is that because the platforms are different, the brand is different, the audiences are different, so you need a different strategy to it. So for example, if a company which has a bigger budget to run more advertising campaign, the strategy could be different from someone who might have a smaller budget. So you have to think about right way, meaning it's something that's right for you. So the perfect marketing strategy for you is actually a tailored strategy. So when you work with someone, you need to know exactly who your customers are, platforms to be focusing on, should you be using organic or paid? How can you run those campaigns? You're going to generate more revenue and minimize costs. So in this case, you want to work with people who are more dynamic so they can work with the different landscape, or if, for example, Facebook changes the algorithm tomorrow, or if Google changes the algorithm tomorrow, will your marketing campaign still work? So this is very important because all these different platforms are not within your control. Facebook, Instagram, they are owned by Facebook. Google or YouTube are owned by Google. So they change the algorithm all the time. So there could be so one day, your blog post could be ranking on page 1. Tomorrow it could be ranking on page 2 or 3. Or it could be the other way around. So you wouldn't know. So when you work with marketing people or your marketing agencies, you want to think about if they are keeping on track on what's happening and how these changes could affect your marketing plan. And by understanding how omnichannel challenges segmentation and creating the right marketing strategy just for you is going to help you attain your marketing goal. If you can actually get as much control as you can in terms of understanding and navigating this marketing landscape, it's going to really benefit your business in the long run. And now that we have addressed the 3 main challenges, we are going on to the next one, which is the 8 worst mistakes that you can make. Some of it might sound familiar to you. So I want to go into the first one, which is shotgun marketing. So imagine you're a brokerage and you might have heard of TikTok, one of these growing social media platforms for the youngsters. You heard that it's awesome and many people are getting into that platform. So you think if you set up an account straight away, you can promote your selling holidays. I'm afraid that doesn't quite work. The thing about shotgun marketing is you're randomly selecting those channels and you think that, the platform that's awesome could also work for you. And that's an assumption that you shouldn't be making. So in this case, you want to know who is actually on that platform. Are those people likely to become customers of yours? So in this case, you could be building a brand over there, but this doesn't mean that they are going to book a holiday with you, because they might not be the person who has the money to pay for those holidays. And mistake number 2. So I understand that in this yachting business, some of you would have spent money on Google Ads. And one of the worst things to do is actually start thinking about or planning your Google Ad campaigns 1 to 2 months before the holiday starts. So Google Ads doesn't really work in this way. So Google Ads has to be well planned at least 3 months ahead before you actually start and launch those campaigns. And you want to think about who are the audiences you are targeting. You have to select the right audience targeting, like what keywords are they searching for in this case. So if you're targeting the wrong keywords, or if you're targeting people who are searching for holidays but might not be holidays for this year, or for example, they are in the beginning of their search journey, you're not targeting people who are on the final search process. In this case, they might not be ready to buy immediately. You want to guide them to the right place. So in this case, if you have a boat rental company and you realize only 50% of your boats are booked for the season, and then you start randomly thinking, let's start running some Google Ads. Well, it's not going to work. So I've seen people who start running, for example, like even Google Ads or Facebook Ads just before like the Christmas holiday as well. They just start perhaps like 1 month before, and they think they're going to start selling their products. It doesn't quite work like that. So before you start running that advertising campaigns, you have to know exactly who are the people you are targeting, what type of keywords, in this case for Google Ads, what keywords should you be targeting for to get the right audience. Otherwise, it could become really expensive and you're just throwing your money around. So the third mistake is investing money in Facebook and Instagram ads. So many people think that, let's just start running on Facebook and Instagram ads. So you own a boat brokerage and you heard a lot about running those ads. They are really cheap. If Facebook ads, they're only 30 cents per click, and Instagram is 70 cents per click. Let's start running some ads. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't quite work like that. So on social media platforms, people are there not to start booking for that next holiday. They're there to look at what their friends are doing, looking for inspiration, perhaps even interacting with brands to know what's new. So they are not thinking to start paying for that holiday or booking that holiday or getting on that sailboat immediately. So when you invest money in those ads, you have to think about what are you going to get those people to do once they see your ads. If you are thinking they're going to start booking something with you straight away, well, you are wrong. That's not going to happen. So think twice about running ad campaigns and how it works. Get the right click-through action and know how you're getting those audience and where they are right now. Are they researching for their next holiday? Are they getting inspiration for their next holiday? Are they comparing prices for that next holiday? Get those questions right before you start running those ads. So the fourth mistake is you have no clue what is your customer acquisition cost. Imagine you're running a yacht maintenance services. You want to get yacht owners to leave their yacht in your good hands. So you think, let's run some ads. Well, first, before you start running that ads, you want to think about how much would it cost you to get a yacht owner to repair their yacht with you. How much would they be paying you in the short run, and the long run will you be signing them into a contract? So how much is this new customer worth to you? And if you can get them to, let's say, sign a contract with you 2 years or 3 years, how much would that be worth to you before you start throwing all your money into running those campaigns? You want to do your own mathematics, get to know what's your customer acquisition cost. If you're not clear, you wouldn't know how much should you be spending on that campaign. Without having awareness of this effectiveness and profitability, that's not going to help your business in the long run. So if you start doing that year after year, but these new yacht owners, you might have spent maybe 90% of your margin to get those people to sign up with you, but they didn't continue in the second year. So in this case, as you go on year by year, there's no sustainability. You can't scale up your business in this way. So you are having reduced margins. So you want to think about first, before you start running ads for any method, think about your customer acquisition cost. How much is a customer worth to you? So the sixth mistake is no regular contact with past customers. So as I mentioned right at the beginning, past customers or past happy customers are delighted and more than happy to book with you again and again. They might also be willing to drop you a testimonial. They want to share this with their friends. So having regular contact with them helps to keep you at the top of their mind. Let's say you might have this exciting new package or holiday package, and you can actually send them email newsletter and talk to them from time to time before they decide to book for their next holiday. So if you're waiting until, let's say, January, and you start calling up every single customer that has booked with you in the last 5 seasons, it's probably a little bit too late. By that time, they might have a good idea or different options in mind. So before that, you want to actually start sending them some form of information that it could be like a call or just like an email newsletter, highlighting it, bring up their memories of their last holiday, and get them to think about, oh yeah, the last holiday was so fantastic. Oh, it's still fresh in my mind. And then they were thinking, yeah, how about let's do this again? So being in regular contact with your past customers are really critical. So calling them up at the last minute is probably not a good idea. By that time, they would have probably spent their money with someone else. So how can you create a process to enable you to keep regular contact with those past customers is very critical. So the seventh mistake is wrong or no call to action. So imagine you're a boat rental company. So you are running ads during the off-peak season, and each advert you're asking people to book now. So at that time when it's off-peak, perhaps they have just returned from the last holiday, so they might not be ready to book now. So something like learn more might speak to them better. So in this case, when you get the right call to action, you are bringing them nearer and nearer to you, instead of getting them to commit themselves to buying or making a purchase before they're ready. So in this case, speaking to them is like, for example, if you go on a first date and you're asking someone to marry you straight away, that's like, wow, it's a bit too much. So that's the same thing for running marketing campaigns. You want to get the right call to action, learn more, find out more, call us, but not necessarily buy now. That could be the wrong message you're sending. And the eighth mistake is no tracking at all. So most people get really excited about running marketing campaigns. They could be creating videos, they could be having social media posts, they are publishing blog posts, but they have no idea if anyone is watching it. So imagine you've got this top world-class video producer to produce great videos of this Caribbean sailing holiday. So you cut them up into pieces, snip them up, and you put on your social media posts or you put it on your website, and you have no idea if anyone has even watched them. Did you even promote them? How many people are watching them? So in this case, that's not really going to help you, because you just spent a huge load of money to get that best videos and you didn't know if it actually worked at all. So in this case, you're actually basically putting everything into this black hole, putting your money into this black hole, creating things, but you're not sure if it's actually helping you to get more customers. And this creates assumption. Most people would find that, oh yeah, my marketing campaign is not working because they didn't get any bookings. However, if you know if there are people looking at it or if they're clicking on certain elements that you have put into there, so in this case, well, even though we got no bookings, we've got a couple of people who sign up to our newsletter, or we've got a number of callbacks, or someone was sharing your videos. So in this case, at least you know that those videos was providing value in terms of building brand awareness and reaching out to a wider customers or wider audience scope. And now that we have covered the 8 worst mistakes, it's time to get back to for you to work on your next steps. So right before we go off, this is something that I'll encourage you to start doing, especially for those of you who sort of have a digital marketing budget or not really haven't thought about it yet. This is really important for you. I want you to start thinking about your 5 top ingredients. So the 5 things to look out for. Define your ideal customers. Who are your best customers? Who are spending the most with you? Who are those people who have come year after year? Who are those people who have even asked their friends to come along, brought their family along? Who are those people? Where do they hang out? So what type of holidays are they looking for? Or what types of yacht maintenance services are they looking for? What are the values that impact their buying decisions? Right, get all of those down. So it could be sustainability, environmental. So have a think about that and write those groups of people down. So it could be 1 group or 2 to 3 groups. So identify those top customers. Okay, forget about those who you took a lot of effort to convince them that they should book a holiday with you. They are not your ideal customers. Ideal customers are people who have spent a lot with you, they're happy customers, and they are your best evangelists. Okay, get that down on this piece of paper. And the next thing is, what is unique about your services? So when they think about your business, what should they be thinking about? Providing the best tailored experience of your lifetime. So this could be something that is part of unique of your services. Or for example, if you're offering local culture immersion, the best local cultural immersion on the Greek islands, something to highlight those points that as part of your personality, or in this case, your brand personality. So it connects to them and they want to come again. And it becomes easier to refer people to you. So for example, if you're offering the best Greek island hopping journey, people can go to their friends and say, hey, this company offers the best Greek island hopping journeys. This is what they're best for. You have to really book with them. They're the best in this space. So you want to highlight what's unique about your services, why people recommend their friends and family to come to you. So get that down as well. And outlining your resources and assets. So getting your connections to your PR and social media, take stock of what social media accounts do you have, or if you have certain connections to media. So in this case, you can actually, once you create your content, you can actually tap into those resources to promote and distribute so you can build more brand awareness and get those new customers. And also think about audit. Having an audit, you have some videos that you can be using or blog posts you have rewritten. How can we repackage them so you don't have to create things from scratch? And do you have an email list? And the fourth thing is research your competitors. Have a look at what your competitors are doing. So what is their price? What's their quality, location? So in this case, if someone comes to you, if your customers comes to you, and they mention something about your competitor, you can actually tell them, oh yeah, they do that, but this is what we do better. And this is why you should be signing up with us. So you want to look at them and see what they are doing and how it could affect your positioning. And the fifth ingredient you definitely want to be thinking about is, what's your customer lifetime value? So how much is this customer worth to you if they buy from you again and again? How about if they bring 5 other friends the next time, or if they brought their family the year after next? What are they worth to you? So think about that, and this will help you to allocate your marketing budget better, and you can allocate the right resources and decide if you want to run paid campaigns going forward. And the second part that you need to get ready for 2020 is think about these 5 questions. Think about what are your revenue goals. Manage your resources so you can achieve those targets. What % of your revenue will be from existing customers compared to new customers? So it will help you to decide how much you need to spend on acquiring new customers and how much effort you need to retain those existing customers. And what % of your leads will come from your marketing strategy, so you know how long or how much effort should you put into your marketing strategy to generate those hot and warm leads. And what's your average sales size and deal closing ratio? So in this case, you know how many leads you need to be getting, you need to be generating, and how many of those are going to be closing. So for example, a lead that's coming from Google search versus a lead coming from social media, or someone coming directly through an inquiry form. So when they're coming through different channels, they could be at different stage of their decision-making process. So having that numbers in place will help you have a clearer idea how will your marketing campaign be looking like. And last but not least, how many leads do you require to reach your goals? So this will create the final piece of the puzzle to help you to see how much you need to spend, how much resources do you need to have, how many sales resource do you need to be contacting those leads as well, what time should they be available so that they can actually talk to those leads. For example, if those leads, if you have certain number of leads coming from the US, so you might need them to be available at a certain time, or if you have certain leads coming from Asia, what's their working hours. So in this case, it helps you to plan your marketing strategy in a more clever manner. So with that, I'll leave you to go back and start your preparation to kickstart for your 2020, to plan for your digital marketing budget. And if you have any information, if you want to know more about me, you can check out my website at claricelin.com. And I'm based in London. And you can contact me at that email, clarice.lin@baselinelabs.com. And thank you.
Yeah, hello, I'm back here. Clarice, thanks a lot. This was a very, very comprehensive overview over the digital marketing segment. And I'm very happy that we could engage you right at the beginning of our webinar serials, because you covered all these components of digital marketing that will follow later. And of course, in such a overview seminar, she cannot go too deep into all these topics, otherwise we would sit 5 hours and listen to her. So I'm great that this was a very good overview. And also it shows to business owners what actually need to be done and how they themselves need to rethink what they are doing or had been doing in the last years. I mean, the yachting market is a very fragmented market. The majority of companies have only few employees, and business owners are very much into daily business and often don't have this time and to breathe and really to think about what they had been doing. So these advices that you gave, they're really, really good. And of course, this presentation will be available later on, because I think the questions that Clarice put here, everybody who listens on who's a business owner or who is in charge of marketing in a nautical business company will have a great guideline and to think about what should be done. And I'm sure it's very good that we have marketing consultants like you, Clarice, because the field is so wide. I'm working in marketing for my own company since 20 years, and I have to say I would always lose the focus if there wouldn't be like presenters like you that's writing nice and clear summaries of how complex this field of marketing is. And I just can add, marketing is a field of experiment. And whenever consultants come to you and say, we know exactly what we have to do with you to bring you to the top, whatever, mostly it will not work. As Clarice said, from my experience, you have to try it out, and marketing needs quite some planning. You cannot do it within 2 months and race to the top. You will spend a lot of money, and the return will be low. So all these advices, mistakes, I think I reminded myself doing these mistakes in the last 20 years. And I'm still doing it from time to time. Even I try to learn a lot. And so it's good that we have consultants as you. Great. I've seen there came quite some questions, and I think you can see them, these questions that popped up. We still have time to answer them, Clarice?
I think we can, yeah, I think we would have time. Let's give maybe like 5 to 10 minutes. We can answer a couple of questions.
Okay, great. Maybe if you don't have time to answer all these questions, I also posted 1 or 2, then you can even answer them later by email to the participants and discuss with them.
Yeah, that would be good. I can do that. So do you want to choose a question, you think, Felix?
I would leave it up to you. Just go through the list and try to find some that you can maybe answer quickly, and the more complex ones maybe you can postpone and say you might answer by email or.
Okay, right. So I think there is a question by Angeline asking about, do you have suggestions with regards to marketing automation? So I think in terms of marketing automation, it depends on lots of what kind of things that we are looking at. Let's say, for example, if you are creating like social media posts on a regular basis, so if you want to make it slightly more automated, you can actually schedule your posts in advance. So you have those tools like Hootsuite, so you can actually prepare those posts in advance to go out at a certain time. So in this case, if you're really busy with other things, because if you are not a dedicated resource for marketing itself, so you might not have time to post at that specific timing. So you can actually plan ahead beforehand and actually get that to be up add, like, for example, if you're publishing out like a post every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you can put that out in advance. And let's say, for example, if you are running like a marketing campaign, you can actually put certain automated beats or certain notification that you can actually do some testing in place. So it actually allows you to see what's happening before you let it sort of run it by itself. And of course, there's this part which is keeping regular contact with your customers. So let's say if you have an email base, you can actually set up those emails beforehand. You can schedule them beforehand, and then you can actually send to those people who haven't opened your last email. So these are the kind of things that you can have set up beforehand. So it's sort of like you don't have to actually do it at the actual time, but rather you do it when you are free. So you can get on your sales calls during the other times. Yeah. And okay, another question is, right. So I believe Caroline has a question. Which social media platform is most successful within the marine sector? Right now, I would say definitely Instagram. So Instagram is a very visual platform. So if you're actually showing people what they see for holidays, everything that's there, it's a really great place to be for, because in the marine sector itself, it's more about visuals. So if you're on like the other platforms, for example, like LinkedIn for B2B, or in the past, I would say Facebook would be a good platform, but these days, especially if you want to connect with like the younger crowds, they are actually on, what do you call that? Yeah, they're all mostly on Instagram. So Instagram would be something that I would highly recommend for you to be active in, have a proper Instagram marketing strategy, and tie it in with your other customer acquisition strategy. Cool. So let's see.
I asked the question, but I think it was partly answered. It was about how can a company measure the return of investment, what they would have to do. Because when I'm speaking with business owners, I often hear or understand they don't measure their conversions. So often they don't know what it is. So maybe you can say also a word to that, how important that is and how they could do it. I mean, not explaining everything, but just to give an idea.
Okay. So in this case, we could talk about, let's say if you are running like an Instagram marketing campaign, you are creating those posts. So what you could think about, could be looking at simple things like if people are liking your post, because if you get a certain number of likes, it gets shown to the friends of those people who like your posts. Or let's say if they leave their comments, they say, oh yeah, this holiday looks gorgeous, something like this. So these are indicators of interest. So a like comment is worth more than a like. Or if someone sends you a DM after that, or let's say from that post, people check out your company's profile. You can actually check to see how many profile clicks. So definitely like profile clicks or click through to your website would be something that would be more valuable to you in this case than compared to like a like or a comment, because they wanted to find out more about, what's this company who is running this campaign, and what's this company doing, so they want to find out more about it. So in this case, if you set up beforehand, you will be able to have a good idea. But at the beginning, even if you haven't run this campaign before, you might not necessarily like have a specific number that you're looking at. But over time, after your first attempt, you can actually measure consistently, like every month, is it getting better? Oh yeah, it's getting better. So what are we doing differently this month that's better than last month? So in this case, you can actually see, for example, even if someone is not becoming a customer immediately, maybe more people know about you, you're getting more inquiry, and the word is spreading So there's different types of the funnel. In this case, you have to measure it. So obviously, most people think about ROI, return of investment, has conversion, but not everyone is going to convert straight away. It would be ideal if you can talk to someone and they say, yes, they're going to convert. But sometimes you are actually reaching out to people who are researching, or this is the first time they have heard about you. So you want to think about what is this campaign for? Is it to convert straight away, or is it to get more people to know about you? So in this case, if there are more comments and more likes, in this case, it'll be like, oh, more people have started to heard about you. So this is the first.
But I probably, I think you can also plug in a Instagram pixel or something that at the end will really tell you, okay, I had followers, whatever, likes and tons of whatever, but at the end you would then see, okay, indeed, there were like 10 people from Instagram that somehow saw my content. At the end, were really booking, because this is at the end what ends in your pocket. And so I think this is the platform inside statistics are nice to see how is engagement, but I want to see who really bought something from my website. Or at least called me or sent me an email. So probably then you would have to install this conversion pixel tracking stuff on your website, which has probably to be done by your webmaster. And so this is the one that needs to be done at the end to know how much money came back from these campaigns. Or
Yeah. So there's one thing actually I also wanted to address this other question, I think from Lucia. Is it possible to build up a marketing strategy starting with a limited budget, or is useless? I think this is an excellent question. So the thing about marketing strategy is when you talk about limited budget, like how much are you looking at, or what do you hope to achieve with that budget? So if you have a limited budget, maybe there are only limited things you can do. So usually, like for example, what I do with my clients, some of them is usually we might have a conversation about like its top-up strategy, but maybe you might not be doing every step yet. So you could think about, okay, for this quarter or for this 6 months, we will just do this for this year, and then we can do something for next year. So you can allocate the budget accordingly.
What would be this was my question in terms of what is a budget for marketing that I could spend. I was often interested in how much nautical companies spend in marketing, and then I often hear answers like, "Yeah, we are spending 30% of our revenue." And I thought, like, what? 30% for a producer of nautical electronics, this might work but for a company that has some charter boats and they only have like a margin of 10-15% from the boat services, it's impossible. Maybe they could spend 3% or up to 5% if they really have put a lot of efforts into marketing. But this would be then for this type of companies the maximum they could spend from their revenue.
But this is the thing that this is the thing that I often speak to my clients. Like one of these clients that I helped to double her revenue 2 times in 2 years. So what happened was we actually look at this entire business model and like the packaging as well, how much value you're providing. Yeah, maybe your margins is 10 to 15%. The thing is, for example, one time is 10 to 15%. But if this person signs up with you for 3 years contract, in this case, so it's committed revenue that's already coming in. So in this case, perhaps, there's something that you can work around with, or maybe like this little bonus that's thrown in. So you don't have to get them like, oh, do you want to sign up for another year with us? So if they're into like at least a contract, there's certain stuff that's guaranteed. It's guaranteed money for you. They're signed to this contract. So you already have this boat to be serviced. So it's money coming in. So in this case, you don't have to worry about that. So in this case, that's what I was talking about, the customer lifetime value. So it's much better for you. It's not like, okay, this is 10 to 15% margin for like 1 year, but you don't have a guarantee whether they're going to sign on the next year. See, you can create happy customers who can sign longer contracts. You provide like a better service package highlight to say, oh yeah, I want to sign up for 24 months instead of just 12 months. So, at least that stream of revenue is coming in. So in this case, then your margins versus like the length of commitment with you makes it more profitable.
Okay. Let's see what other questions are here that could answer straight away. Do you see something?
Yeah, what's a good interval to catch up with customers, monthly or quarterly?
Yeah, that was my question. Because I'm not the one who likes to post every week on Facebook and Google and whatever. You should even post daily. I mean, this is right. I mean, what is a good interval? I mean, that it's at least you show your face to your customers. I mean, most of our companies in charter, I think they send catch up once a year or to Christmas or maybe twice a year, but very, very few companies post monthly or quarterly. So what you think, what should be for the tourism sector or in this yachting service sector? Do you think how much at least I should contact with the customers?
I think if you're having like an email newsletter, let's say if you're promoting to people who are already your past customers, at least once a month will be cool, because you're creating something that you're sending it to maybe 100 people. So it's still quite worth it. It's like large scale, so you keep it at the top of their minds. But if you're talking about social media posts, the thing is, I was reading some stats online, the research about people looking for holidays. So for the millennials and Generation Z, they are basically looking for holiday inspiration the entire year round.
Okay.
So they're just ready to go for their next holiday, because some of them they just want to know, okay, they have this holiday to look forward to after the next holiday. So I know a couple of people who do that. So if you're not putting it out on a regular basis, yeah. However, what I think is it depends on what other platforms you are on, because sometimes social media strategy can be, if you do it rightly, you might not necessarily need to do it every day at the start, but more of like you could be reusing content from your website that you already have. So you rewrite a little bit, so you don't have to, reinvent the entire wheel. So it takes a little bit less effort, and then you can say, okay, I'm going to, get this bits. We talk about this here. We select some images, we can put up there. Even like if you select the right hashtags as well, it's more about effectiveness rather than the quantity. Yeah, and that's where you have the content calendar coming in as well. You need to plan like which days you want to be putting out. So
very good. You mentioned the right word, content strategy. Will also be one of the topics for the next webinars. Really, to do marketing, you need a content strategy. That's what all experts say, and how to do that. Luckily, we have other webinars, and what type of content it could be. So fortunately, we don't need to answer this today. We go more into detail in the next weeks. So yeah, maybe we can go further if you see some questions that are suitable to answer now.
Yeah. Thank you, Daria. Yeah, she wrote a really nice message. Yes. Yeah, I think that's sort of about all. I think Thorsten feels that the text, there was so much text on one of the slides. Sorry about that. So
critics are always welcome.
Yes, good.
Yeah, if these are the most important questions, very good. Thanks a lot for this attention. And as already mentioned, whenever you have questions, write to Clarice. I'm quite sure she's an expert for small to medium-sized companies, and she really she knows the struggles that small companies has to set up proper marketing campaigns. And I'm quite sure she can help you out and clear your thoughts and really help you not to waste the money in the wrong in the wrong campaigns. This is very important. Even with few money, you can do something, but do it wisely. And therefore, you need an expert and advisor. Okay, so I just want to give a preview about what's happening in the next weeks. Here is a list of the topics we will touch. I just quickly read them. There will be webinars about brand building, social media, content marketing, local SEO, video marketing, influencer marketing, and AdWords, search engine advertising. There will be almost all webinars will be on Tuesday and Thursday, 11 o'clock Central European time. So just subscribe here. I will open the subscriptions now. Every week there will new registrations be open. The whole list of the webinars you already see on the webinar overview page. And I will, as soon as I have the content ready for the webinars and it's agreed in detail with the presenters, I switch them online and you can register. So that's it. I'm happy this first webinar went fine. I'm glad this platform works because I have to admit, as webinar owner, I'm also not so experienced into that, but I think it ran well. And the quality of the voice got much better in the second half. So I think there was a little bandwidth problem, but okay, we can learn and do better. Yeah, but I'm very happy that we close this. And thanks again to Clarice and, of course, to all attendants. And I wish, a nice lunch break then. See you on the next webinar. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.